Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I will be sketching and coloring on the first page of this sketchbook. So I started off by erasing some of the colored pencil sketch below. So here's where I did my little thumbnail for the pose that I was going to do, and I wrote down the things for my OC, Zariah. I took a vote on my Instagram page for her name, and that was the one that won, so that's the one that I chose for this OC. This is my first ever original character that I've made, and I got the idea because I have a sword spine tattoo, so I wanted to incorporate that into one of my original characters. So since she had a sword, I figured she could be like medieval and wear metal armor. I originally planned for her to have gray hair, but as I started coloring it, I realized how much gray was already going to be in the picture from all the metal armor and stuff, so I decided to change her hair color to brown instead, and I like how that turned out a lot better. The markers I'm using is the 48 color set Ahuhu markers, and the color that I used for her armor was like a warm gray. Then I went back in with a brown color for all the straps that were connecting the armor together. The idea was that the leather straps and pins were holding the armor together. Honestly, I remember sketching this pose, and I probably shouldn't have chosen such a complex pose for her first drawing in this, but I had fun doing it, and the end result isn't too bad, and I kind of enjoyed challenging myself on different poses, so this was nice. Since I wanted the sword to be like the main focal point, I ended up coloring the sword in a silver Posca, and it just ended up making the page sparkle, and it looked really good. I started to draw all the pins in with the silver Posca, but then I realized that I didn't really like it and I just wanted them outlined in black, so I didn't end up doing all of them that way, just a couple. The armor was pretty challenging because I wanted it to fit her body, and I also needed to find where there was highlights because it was like a shiny metal. I just put down a base layer first and then went back in, added shadows and highlights and stuff like that. I think the smart thing to do with any piece is to block out colors first and try to fill in most of the white, and then go back in and add your darker colors, your highlights, things like that. So this is where I went in with the brown marker over the gray, and honestly, in the end, you can't even tell that there was gray there to begin with, but I ended up liking the brown way better because I just felt like there was way too much gray on the page and I needed to change something. So then I got out my skin tones and started working on the face and the hands. And honestly, I wish I had more skin tones. I know there's a lot that looks like a lot in this picture, but I just wasn't getting the range that I wanted, and I felt like the skin was lacking. The skin was also really close to the warm gray color I used for the armor, so I go back and fix that later where I made the armor like more of a cool gray instead of a warm gray so that it doesn't match so much with the skin tone. Then I finished coloring in the brown hair color. The reason I waited and moved on to the skin tone is because I wanted to make sure I knew where the braids were. So by letting the markers dry and then going back over that area, it helps me figure out where the braids are because it's not all just one color. The way I did the braids is I started off with the lightest color and then I moved on to a darker one and then an even darker one. The darker it got, the less area it covered. So the lightest color had the most on the page. I know most people have a fear of drawing on the first page, but on this one, I wasn't really afraid of it because I had gotten this sketchbook from like a garage sale that somebody was doing. So I wasn't afraid to mess it up, which made drawing on the first page a lot easier for me. So I used a really dark gray for the riding pants, and the reason I didn't do armor for the whole body is because I just wanted to break it up a little bit, have the warm gray on top and warm gray on bottom, and break it up with like a cool dark gray black color. Here's where I started adding in the cool grays, and honestly, I think this is the part where it started to turn from the ugly phase to where I was kind of happy with how it was turning out. The shading on this armor is probably what took the longest out of this whole piece, just because there was just so many small parts that needed to be shaded. The line art was probably my favorite part out of this whole thing just because I was able to add so much detail in the armor and stuff, and it really helped the whole piece come together. I think the other part I struggled with that had to deal with the pose was the feet because one toe was pointed downwards and the other one was pointed towards the back. So I was just having trouble getting the direction right where it didn't make the feet look weird. I did some things differently than my tattoo because my tattoo doesn't have those black parts filled in, but I felt like it just brought the sword together and made it look better, so that's what I decided to do. And the only reason I didn't decide to fill in the hilt was because I liked the swirly pattern, so I ended up going in with a black colored pencil and coloring that in, but you could still see the swirls in the hilt. So then I grabbed a brown colored pencil to do the eyebrows and the line art on the face and even the braids. Then I wrote her name down at the bottom because I was pretty much finished with this drawing and I love how it turned out. And I can't believe this is my first original character because most people by now would have so many, but I'm really happy with how this turned out and I can't wait to draw her more. Now that I've started drawing an OC, I have another idea for a male OC, but I'll make sure to put that in another video so that y'all can see the process of creating him and how I drew him and what gave me the ideas and such. So then, because of course it was my first page, I decided to put Sketchbook 5 on this page just to let me know it's kind of like a cover page for my sketchbook. And I'll put the start date and the end date also on this page. I haven't finished my Illo sketchbook yet, but I figured this sketchbook would be better for colored pencils, so I decided to do the first page on this one so that when I wanted to do any colored pencil art, I could do it in this sketchbook. Lately, I have been on an art kick where I just have been doing art consistently for at least every other day, and I don't know what brought it on, but I've been filling up sketchbooks quicker than I ever have, because if this gives you any hint, it's taken me like 3 or 4 years to fill up one of my mixed media sketchbooks, but these other ones are going by so quickly because I have just been loving art. I also normally paint the cover of my sketchbooks, and I have the cover sketched out for this one. I just haven't painted it yet, so I will probably paint it and then have another video for that. So I wrote the date that I started, and I'm kind of mad because after I did all this marker, I didn't let it dry very well, and I went back in with an eraser and it ended up smudging a lot of the line art. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video so that you can see more in the future. Bye!